Hey guys, it's Allie. Welcome to another tutorial Tingles. In this video today, I'm going to be showing you a fun kind of Halloween-ish themed craft of sorts that is actually really fun to make. I'll be showing you how to make some Jack Skellington cake pops. Jack Skellington is the Pumpkin King from Nightmare Before Christmas, which is one of my favorite Halloween films and actually one of my favorite Christmas films also. I like to watch it at both times of the year. And I really love making cake pops. I will make different ones for almost any event or get-together that I go to, just because I like having an excuse to make them because they're so fun. You can do so many cool things with them. And they're tasty. And fun to eat because it's just like one big bite of cake on a stick. So yeah, I really love making them. So I thought I'd show you in this video how to make this one for the Halloween time that we're in case you're going to a party or a get-together or something where you would want to bring a fun, themey snack. So these are pretty easy to make, and in the next little segment I'll tell you everything that you need as far as supplies, and then I'll show you step by step how to create the cake pop with the face as well as his little tuxedo and bow tie. And hopefully you enjoy it. If you do decide to make some of these, let me know. Send me the pictures via Twitter or Facebook so I can see what you create. And just in case you want to make these yourself, but you want the non-ASMR quicker version of the tutorial, I will link in the description to the blog post where I found the instructions for how to make these awesome little cake pops so that you can follow along with that also if you like. Okay, so I'm going to switch shots and show you step by step how to create these Jack Skellington cake pops. So I hope you enjoy. Okay guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is show you all of the supplies you're going to need for our cake pops. And you really ought to do the bulk of this work in a kitchen if you have access to one, but if you're like me and are not in a kitchen today, then you may want to lay out a towel or something like one, because this can be kind of a messy project. So I'm just going to lay this towel out to protect my work area for the time being. Now, as we are making cake pops, first and most important ingredient is, of course, cake. This is part of a cake that I baked earlier, and it's cooled cooled off. It's not hot anymore. And I just trimmed it so that it's just the nice soft squishy middle part, not the edges that can get kind of brown. Now I made this cake. It is just a really simple box cake mix, and if you are ambitious or love to bake cakes from scratch, then you're more than welcome to make your cake pops that way, but I find this to be a lot quicker since it's kind of an involved process, even without baking, so this kind of makes it quicker. I just went with a plain white cake. You can use whatever flavor you like, really. I just chose this for simplicity, and I thought that it's possible that if the cake is already light colored, it'll be easier to cover with our coating, the white coating for Jack's face. This is going to come into play soon, but I'm going to set it aside. Next ingredient, this might look a little gross. This is cream cheese that I've softened a little bit. There are lots of different ways to make cake pops, and one way that I've tried that works great is to use just regular cake frosting that you can get at the store. But I like to use cream cheese. You'll see what the purpose of this is in a little bit, but I like to use cream cheese because it cuts the sweetness just a little bit, and cake pops can be very, very, very sugary and sweet, and I like to just cut that out a little bit if possible. So I use cream cheese. Okay, so those are the first two main ingredients. Next, we'll need candy melts, and these are just little wafers of chocolate, pretty much, or something like it. It's like a candy coating, and you can get these in tons of colors. Most colors these are available in. I went with the white ones because we're obviously making Jack Skellington, and he's all white completely in his face. So these are going to be melted down into a liquid, and these are what we'll be coating our cake pops with. Okay. Next this is technically a cookie icing product. I bought it in black. This is what we're actually going to use to draw on Jack Skellington's facial features, his eyes, his little nose, and his mouth. And I'm going to be using this because there are lots of other ways out there to decorate cake pops. For this, the tutorial that I found that I liked a lot used cookie icing, and it was just kind of like glossier and not really thick and matte, which is kind of what I want. So I'm going to go with this. And now I'll show you the non-food supplies that you might want to have on hand when you're doing this. First of all, this number one. You can't have a cake pop without the cake pop stick, otherwise it's just a cake ball. So you'll need some cake pop sticks. You can find these at the cupcake candy decorating aisle, and they're labeled as lollipop sticks, I believe, but they function as cake pop sticks as well. Which, actually, if you look on the packaging of these, they show them being used for cake pops too, so this is what I always use. They work great. They're really sturdy. So I'll be using a few of these to make our cake pops. Next, I have a few plain old toothpicks on hand. These I'm going to use to do the detail work of Jack's face with the cookie icing. You need something kind of with a really fine point to get the detail of his facial features. So I'm going to use some toothpicks for that. And this is crafting tape, and I'm not sure how super clear it is, but it might just look gray, but it's actually little black and white stripes, really thin pinstripes, and this is actually what we're going to use to decorate Jack's cake pop stick and make it sort of look like his stripy suit that he wears. It's gonna be cute. And this is also something that can be found at the craft store, I believe, where all the scrapbooking stuff is in the craft store. So I'll be using some craft tape. And I'm going to be doing a lot of mixing in this big bowl. You want a decent sized bowl for what we'll be doing. And then finally, it's good if you have it, but I found that it's not completely necessary, but it's good if you have some wax paper to place your cake pops on as they're hardening. Because the cake won't stick to it. Oh, I forgot one thing though. This is good to have. You can purchase a cake pop stand, those other products you can buy, but I generally like to just use a little block of styrofoam, and this serves as a way to prop up the cake pops and display them if you want to display them. If you're bringing these to a party or an event, it can be cute to wrap some decorative paper around the styrofoam and just use this as a stand. If you don't want to buy an actual cake pop stand, that is. So I'm just actually going to poke the cake pop sticks through the styrofoam, and it will stand them up securely. Okay, now our very first step is going to be to mix up the cake that you've baked with some of the cream cheese or frosting, whatever you're using. So we're literally going to crumble up this baked cake into the bowl and then mix in the softened cream cheese. That's pretty much it. It's going to get messy. crumble the cake in, just like that. I have some wet wipes on hand to wipe my hands off with, but in the meantime, this is going to be messy. So a full cake will make a lot of cake pops. This is maybe like a third of the cake. So this will probably yield a good dozen, probably more than that though. And it also depends on the size that you choose, how big you roll the cake balls. So we're going to crumble this all up. Set that down. Get this all crumbled up. And this cake itself is actually already really pretty moist as cake goes. So we're really not going to need very much of the cream cheese at all. You don't want them to be too squishy, because then they'll just kind of, they won't hold their shape well. You want them to hold their shape. Okay. That's enough crumbling for now. So now, I'm going to spoon in. And this is something I generally eyeball. I don't have perfect measurements for how much I use. I just kind of add a little as needed. Just keep adding as I go. There's not really, well, I mean, there probably is an exact science to how much of each ingredient you use, but I don't know it, and I don't find that it's necessary to know. Okay, so you can do this the hard way that's not as messy, or the easy way that's way, way, way messy. The harder way is to do this with a spoon or a mixer. Easy way is to just get in there and do it with your hands and make a big mess. But it's a lot easier, in my opinion, so I'm just going for it. Let's just do it. So we're just mixing everything in really well. And I think that was probably the perfect amount of cream cheese, because this is already becoming really cohesive just with what we put in, so I'm thinking we won't need any more. You want it to still be kind of spongy and not complete mush. Very messy. But if you just let go, let yourself do it, it's kind of liberating in a way. Squishy, 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 squishy. If you have kids over the age of 3 or so, this is a fun activity. Definitely a fun activity to do with children. I haven't tried doing cake pops yet with my son, but I think he would really like it. He definitely likes eating them when I make them. Okay, so this is mixed in, consolidated pretty well. We made a giant mess, but it's alright. Wipe my hands off a little bit. Okay. Sure new. Here's what we're going to do. Take my wax paper. from underneath it. I'm just going to create little balls, little cake spheres, and I just kind of, again, eyeball the amount that I think I want. This looks like it might be a good amount, but it might be too much. So let's see. My sphere rolling technique is nothing special. I kind of toss the dough in between my hands, like so, just to kind of soften it. I'm squeezing it as I go. And this is softening it and making it easier to work with. And then just rolling it into a round shape. It's not going to be a completely perfect sphere, so don't get attached to that idea. But you can get it pretty good. This one is looking pretty good. Okay, there we go. Our first Jack Skellington head base. This actually turned out to be a really good size, in my opinion, so I'm going to try and model the rest of them after that one. This looks like a good amount. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, so I'm just going to do this where I toss it in my hands a bit, soften it up as I'm squeezing it. It's a cool sound, so I'm going to do it in the ears real quick. I like that sound. Okay. So this is pretty good now. It's time to start rolling it up. I really love making cake pops. I have a lot of fun doing it. It's a fun project. For my little boy's second birthday party, I made some Sesame Street characters. That was really hard. It took a long time, but they were so cool. I made a Big Bird. I made what else did I make? An Elmo and a Cookie Monster. And, Oscar. I made Oscar the Grouch. That was cool. Okay. So you can just keep on doing this over and over and over until you have as many as you want. I'm going to do 3 for now, just to give you an idea of how to do it. We have plenty more, but it can be very time consuming to make an entire batch of these. So just do 3 for now. So at this point, what you want to do is take a few, not many, just a few of your candy melts that I showed you. These little guys. And you don't even need this many. You maybe need like that, max or less. Go ahead and melt these down, and then I'll show you what our next step will be once we've melted these. Okay. So with the candy melts, what you want to do is obviously put them in a microwave safe bowl, and you want to just kind of microwave them 30 seconds at a time until they are where you want them to be. So while that's happening, or really before that's happening, let's move these out of the way just for a sec. And I'm going to show you how to create the little pinstripe effect on Jack Skellington's cake pop stick. So it's really, really, really simple. You want some scissors just to get a straight line, but you're going to pull out a piece of tape about the length of the cake pop stick. I'm going to trim the edge of this so that it's nice and straight. Just place that to the side. This is super easy. Go ahead and pull out your strip. Lay the cake pop stick on it, but leave a little bit of space, about, I don't know, an inch or a little bit less, maybe not a full inch, but a little bit of space. You can see that, where the tape won't be covering the stick. Trim that. And then you're literally just going to roll the tape, or the stick, I mean, so that the tape sticks to it. And it's very easy. It's going to look good. It's kind of hard to mess it up. The width of the craft tape is actually just about perfect for wrapping around the stick. And you can kind of secure the end down a little bit. This part doesn't really need to look perfect because it's going to be hidden anyway. Okay, and this is the part of the stick that's going to actually go into the cake. Okay, let's do that 2 more times. So, oops. Just laying the stick right in the center of the tape, leaving a little space, and then trimming off the end. And just do a little roll. Make sure it's stuck down securely. Okay, just needs a little tiny bit of pressure from your fingers, and that's it. Voila. Okay. There's 2, and here's our 3rd. Okay. So just place the stick on the center of the tape. Leave a little bit of space. Trim off the end. And roll the tape onto the stick. Okay, cool. So now comes our candy melts, or at least their first job, because they actually have two different jobs in the cake pop making process. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. So let me go get our candy melts real quick. So here we go. Here is our bowl of now melted candy melts. And here is what I meant when I said that it has two jobs. So you really didn't need to melt very much for this step at all, because the only purpose of this batch is to help secure the sticks into the cake pops. So I'll show you what I mean. You're going to take the end of the cake pop stick that you did not wrap in the tape, and you're going to cover it really well with the liquid candy melts. So now it has a little coating of the candy melt on it. And you're just going to press that stick into your cake pop. And it's going to create like a little, kind of like a little cap, like a little collar of the candy melts here. And that's going to harden and dry and secure the stick really well into the cake. Okay, so let's do another one. As I said, you barely need any of this stuff. Don't even need this much, but it's okay. We'll use this up. So you've coated it with the candy melts. You're just going to press it in to your cake pop and let it create a little circle of candy. Okay, let's do the last one. Don't need too much. That's good. And then you press it in. And voila. So you'll do this with every single one of your cake pops. And then what I usually do is put them in the freezer for about a half hour or so. And that is usually plenty of time for them to kind of firm up, and then they're ready to start dipping into the candy melts to coat them. So these are going to go into the freezer, and when they come out they'll be ready to decorate. You can also keep them in the fridge if you want, but it takes a little bit longer, so I just like to do the freezer. So I'll be back with our hardened cake pops ready to decorate. Okay, so here are our hardened cake pops out of the freezer. They look pretty good, they're pretty solid. And what we need to dip them in is more of the melted candy melts that I showed you, and for this part you'll usually want to have a kind of longer, like cylindrical receptacle, because you want to have a pretty deep, pool of the candy melts to dip your pops into, especially since they're on a stick. So I have a knife that I'm just kind of occasionally stirring this with to keep it liquidy and all loosened up. But you can see it's a good consistency. So we're going to start just dipping our candy melts. I'm sorry, our cake pops into the candy melts. And then I have our little styrofoam block here to prop them up in once they've been dipped. And you might be able to tell I've poked 3 holes in to the styrofoam, so it'll be easy to kind of nestle in there. So let's go ahead and get started. It's pretty basic. You're just going to dunk the cake pop into the candy melt, submerge it all the way to its little neck piece, and I like to twist it a little bit so that the goop on top evens out a little. And there it is. And this stuff is going to actually harden really, really quickly. It does not take long at all. Oh. I'm having a little mess. It's gonna drip down a little bit, which I forgot about. That's okay. There's a little bit too much excess, that's all. This is pretty easy to just kind of clean off. You might want to use a damp paper towel. I'll use one of my wet wipes to clean the little stick off so it still looks nice. But as I said, this can be a messy project, and that's okay. So yeah, it's good to maybe spin it a little bit horizontally as it hardens so that it doesn't drip like that when you stand it upright, like so. Let's try this again. Messy. So there's one. Move this closer so you can actually see them as they're standing up. There we go. Okay, and the next one. Just gonna dunk it in right up to its little collar and let the excess kind of fall off by sort of just doing a little spinning. You may not be able to see, but this is already beginning to harden. It's losing its sheen and becoming more matte, so you can see that it's spin this one for a little bit. It's got a little drip happening. Oops. I smudged it a bit, so I'm going to dunk it in one more time. You want to be careful not to overdo the coating of this because it can get heavy, and then it can make the cake ball part of the pop really heavy, and that could be bad for balance. So just keep an eye on that. Usually I find that one coat is plenty. Okay, this one looks about ready. Actually, not quite. It's still a little drippy. Let's let it do its thing for a little bit longer before we stand it up. We're okay. We may have a little drippage, but we can always clean it up. Okay, so that's our next one. Here's number 3. Dunk it in and pull it out. And we'll just let it drip for a little while. Drip, drip, drip. Just keep letting it start to harden up so it's not dripping all over the place when we stand it up vertically. And after this will be the fun part. The other fun part, where we get to draw on the face. Okay. I think we might be in business now. So let's secure this little guy. In place in styrofoam. Doesn't really want to stay there. Let's keep trying. Good. So that's nice and secure. Messy. So now it's time to decorate their faces. So now that the pretty messy part is completed, we have the white base for the faces. Time to decorate the face. So we're going to use our cookie icing, and I'm just gonna squirt a little glob of it on the plate here and use some toothpicks to create the detail. So you can see it's pretty shiny. Okay, let's start with this guy. Okay, so I've got him out of his home for just the time being. I'm going to coat the tip of the toothpick really simple face. It's not hard to do. I'm just going to create two kind of big, exaggerated, oval-y type shapes for the eyes. Two little dashes for the nose, and then a long mouth with little stitches all in it. Let's give it a go. I'm going to create an outline first and then fill it in. There's our first eye. You're going to be seeing this kind of upside down. Okay. There's the first eye, sort of, maybe. Okay, so we're going to try and just create that same shape on the other side. I got a little smear on him. I think I can get it off if I'm quick enough. Actually, what I can do is get some of the candy melt and just sort of patch over it with that. And obviously, if you're going to use your fingers like this, you want to make sure your hands are very clean. But that'll solve that little hiccup. Okay, I did it again. Let's add a bit more white right here. Just to hide that. Alright, so we've kind of got the eyes going on here. They're kind of just wonky shapes. They're not really like circles per se. Okay, it's pretty good. So I'm going to make the little nose slits now. Really, really subtle and small. Just like that. Can I see that? Maybe I'll make them a little bit more pronounced. There we go. Okay, now it's time for the mouth. This part might be tricky. It's a really long mouth that like stretches all the way across his face, like so. And then you need some stitches along his mouth. Kind of mismatched and not perfectly straight or even. I love Nightmare Before Christmas, but I was always a little, just the tiniest bit scared of Jack Skellington. Okay, there we go. Got a little face. Not bad. Let me just fix the eye part a little bit. Right here. Cool. Alright, let's set him back in here. Okay. Okay, now let's move on to our second cake pop. Okay. I want to get some of our cake icing on the toothpick again. And just try to create the same effect. Kind of doing the outline Let's do his nose now. A little dash like that. And another one right next to it. I think the eyes are probably the hardest part. Nose is easy, mouth is pretty easy too. Okay, let's do the mouth now. Start way over here. I don't know if you can really see that. Bring it over really far, like around the side of his head. Creepy. His eyes are kind of drippy. Okay. Now it's time to make his little stitches on his mouth. I like to kind of make them uneven, bring them out kind of in different directions. These look really cool when they're done, but they're actually really not too hard to make, which is good. Alright. There's our second one, kind of upside down. Be a little mouth. And his eye is trying to drip because it's got a little too much of the stuff on it, so I'm going to try and get some of the excess off without screwing it up too badly. There we go. Okay. So let's put him back in his little home and do the next one. Okay. Now it's time to do our last one. Actually, I think I'm going to get a little more of the icing because this is starting to congeal a little bit. I want it a bit more liquidy. Okay. Yeah, it's better. Alright, here we go. Start with the first eye. mystery party. We do those a lot. Or we have done them a lot. I'm going to do another one this year. I really like doing them. You pick a character and then you can kind of dress up as that character. So we'll be doing that. I think maybe like the day after Halloween, but the night of Halloween, which is on a Friday this year, which is cool. I'm going to try really hard to get my little boy to go trick-or-treating, because he was old enough last year. I think he just didn't care, or maybe I didn't hype it up enough or something, but we didn't end up doing it, and a lot of that was because he didn't even want to wear his costume. I think it was uncomfortable, and no matter what I did, try and get him to wear it, he just wasn't having it. But it was a cute little Elmo costume, but I could see it being uncomfortable, maybe a little scratchy. So this year I think I'm going to try and make him a costume that to him will feel more like his normal clothes, so that he's comfortable. His eyes are not doing quite what I want them to. So I'm going to try and make him a Kristoff costume. Kristoff from Frozen, because he loves Frozen a lot. And he likes to pretend to be Kristoff sometimes. And I'm going to get him a little reindeer, like stuffed animal to carry around with him to be Sven. So I'm going to attempt that. We'll see. He might not cooperate again this year, but I'm going to try and get him pumped about the idea of candy and trick-or-treating and everything. I really want to have that experience and share that with him. That looks pretty good. Kind of. That one looks a little weird. I've had the "This Is Halloween" song stuck in my head the whole time I've been doing this. Except I don't really know all the words. So it's just, "This is Halloween, this is Halloween." That's all I got. Little nose. This one kind of looks like an alien. Oops. Okay, mouth time. Oh yeah, this one's definitely kind of a weird one. Alienish. It's okay. If you're making a whole bunch of these and there's like one or two that look a little off, it won't really matter, because you can like hide them in the back and they'll sort of just blend in with the good looking ones. And people will get the idea, they'll get the gist. Plus I think what really kind of makes this cake pop, in my opinion anyway, is the little bow tie, which I'm going to show you how to do next after the faces have dried a little bit. Eyes are a little drippy. another song he sings when he's in the Christmas land. What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? What is this? I want to go watch that now. Okay. Alright, so even though this one looks a little goofy and maybe isn't our best one, it's okay. It still gets the point across. I think what I should have done is not used this side of the cake pop and used this side instead, because it's the shape of it that makes it look so weird. But it's okay. Alrighty. Okay, so these guys need to dry a little bit, and then we can do the final touch, which is adding the bow tie. It's gonna be super cute, and you're gonna love it. So let me put him back, and then we'll do that next. Here are our 3 Jack Skellington faces. Okay, so here we are with our 3 cake pops. They're pretty dry now. So now it's time to add the bow tie. So for this, you're just going to need some scissors and some more of the stripy tape that we used for the cake pop sticks. So I'm going to pull out the length of tape, maybe about this long. That might be a little bit longer than what we need, but we can always trim off whatever's left over. Okay. So I'm going to try and do this from this angle. I might need to change angles, but I'm going to bring the tape underneath the stick with the sticky side up and bring it right up to his little neck. And I'm going to fold over the length of the tape. Like this. First we have to get it to stay on. Okay. So I'm going to see one side is kind of slightly longer. I left a little bit more length on this side. And I'm going to fold that over to the other side, leaving some excess over here, like so. And then just squish that together. Now you still got a little bit of sticky part left over here, so we're going to fold it back this way. And this might not be really even, but that's okay. We're going to trim it anyway. There's the beginning of our bow tie. So what I'm going to do now is use scissors to create the kind of jagged bow tie that Jack Skellington wears. And kind of just eyeball it. I'm going to start by trimming off a little of this bottom part in this direction. So I'm going to come in from the corner, the outer corner, and trim very slightly in at kind of an angle. And trim that little piece off. These aren't the best scissors in the world, but okay. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the other side. Come in at a slight angle. And trim this little piece off. Okay, it's kind of a bow tie shape now. Actually, I don't think that I'm really going to mess with the length here because it looks pretty close to being the right length. Luckily. Okay, so I'm going to just come in lengthwise at the tape and just kind of make it look kind of jagged and not especially neat, because that's kind of what it looks like. So I'm going to be kind of cutting little triangle pieces out. Make sure your hands are clean when you're doing this part, because obviously I'm having to hold on to the cake pop part. And if you are serving these to guests, you don't want to have germy hands touching them. Or just find a way to do this without having to touch the cake part, but I find it to be kind of unavoidable. Okay, so you're starting to see the shape come together. And I want to just make this a little bit more dramatic of a look. I definitely don't recommend using kitchen shears like I am for this part, because it's a really meticulous, detailed part that you should be using maybe like actual craft scissors for, but I don't actually have any. These are the only scissors I own. So I'm making do with what I've got, but don't recommend it if you don't have to. Okay. So there's one side. It's kind of messed up looking, which is sort of what we want. Don't want it to be too clean. And I like to kind of bend them a little bit and make them a little more raggedy looking. So we'll do the same thing on the other side now. So we'll do the same thing on the other side now. Just cutting little strips away. He's got little bat embellishment in the movie in the center of the bow tie, but I don't think that part is super necessary to make this look good, but if you want to go for it, then feel free. Here, I'll put him over here. Okay, so your next one. So we'll get our tape out. Fold this piece over. And bring this one over that. Okay. There we go. So now I'm going to cut right here. Thin this out a little bit. Okay. Now let's just start making our little bow tie strips. our next one. And now for our final bow tie. Okay. Okay. Let's make sure that's lined up properly. Or somewhat properly anyway. That's pretty good. Doesn't have to be perfect since we're cutting it all up anyway. Okay. There's our base. And I'm going to cut from down here. Once again, at a slight angle. And cut this piece away. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay, start making little cuts. Snip that little part there. Okay. There we go. So there's one side. Make sure you can see it. I'll do the other side now. We are almost finished. these little guys done. Now we have all of our Jack Skellington blue cake pops. All finished. Move them so you can see them more clearly. So then we would just stand them back up in their cake pop stand or styrofoam in this case. And you can be as creative as you want with how you display them, assuming you are going to display them. But that is the basic idea of how to make them. I love making cake pops, so if you guys ever want to see any more other kinds of cake pop tutorials, feel free to request them because there's all kinds of fun things you can do with these little guys. Okay. Well, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this tutorial Tingles and found it informative and interesting and relaxing, of course. Also, if you do end up following this tutorial and making some cake pops, please either tweet them to me or send them to me on Facebook, because I'd love to see what you all create. Well, as always, I wish you restful sleep and pleasant dreams. And I'll be seeing you all again very soon. Good night. I'm sure it'll even be that